Hello, welcome to the channel. Make sure you like it. Subscribe to the channel for more stories like these. Now let's begin today's story video. You might not believe it now, but you'll be fine. In 2019 I launched my first essay in this site that was followed by some updates in 2020 due to the fact that my history is not the focus of this essay. I will not provide links to these posts. If you are interested in reading the rest of my narrative, feel free to check my previous posts. My presence in this side on our community subreddit depression has been intermittent for some time. Most of the time I'm watching from away, reading about other people's experiences, problems and solutions. Besides that, I am grateful for having read all the encouraging words that have been posted on these subreddits have proved really helpful to me anyway. I was 14 when I first joined through the door of my family's house after school with a serious expression on my face and my mother crying in your chair. My stomach turned when I heard the most horrible sound, agonizing I've ever heard in my life. My brother had just committed suicide as a result of his wife's death. Case of treason. That day will remain engraved in my memory forever. The pain of life hit me like a knife. Next to my mother, I never intended cause as much suffering to my family as result. Even when my depression got worse severely, I never thought of taking my life. However, the lure of emptiness, it's been more frequent since I found out my wife's infidelity. I could just change my will slightly to face the oncoming traffic, and all this suffering would go away. I could go down the hill. Even the lake would take years before someone to find me. Alternatively, when a policeman approached me in line from the store and said, "Get your gun," I responded to these recurring thoughts that haunt me terribly. I understand that they are natural, but I used to feed them regularly. As a result, I started to occupy my mind with other activities. Took my camera and started shooting again. I went fish one more time. I resumed my game. Every Sunday, I made a point of sit with my father and watch football. I made the conscious decision to get out of my cocoon of pain and make a concerted effort to find friends at least once per week. I stopped allowing events past affect my current and future actions. My wife was having an extramarital affair. We are no longer legally married. To eyes of the law, this lifestyle is not more available and will never be available again. However, this does not mean that my life turned out like. As a result, I started the journey back to health and wellness. It may seem hard when you're just starting out. Start on the road to recovery. In some point in life we all go through a phase in which it seems that the world came to an end completely because your chosen life partner betrayed you. There's nothing to look forward to or strive in your newfound freedom to. Phrase, "Time heals all wounds," will be repeated by friends and family members. In their words, they are partially correct, as this process to succeed, it takes time and effort. As someone who has gone through it, I can guarantee it won't happen overnight. There is no magic button that can be pressed to perform a miracle. Although it may seem insignificant, if you start doing little things like eat and sleep properly, go out of your own mind and spend time with friends and family, or even alone, reviving old interests and discovering new ones, you'll soon realize that didn't have a negative thought in 1 week or more compared to last year. I'm in a much better situation. And that's fine, but I must state that I'm not 100% confident in my abilities like the rest of us. We know this is not the case after this event. I'm not sure if I'll ever make it. Look at love or relationships the same way. After having gone through To paraphrase Pearl Jam, a terrible love blackened my world. Everything I've seen, everything I am, all I'll ever be was a love that blackened my world, painted everything I saw. Despite this, I have renewed hope for the future and for the rest of my life. My suggestions can be beneficial if you are still feeling discomfort. I hope so, and that you were able to find relief as soon as possible while you were dealing with your spouse's infidelity. Your life didn't stop completely, that's true, and I understand that you may not believe it now. I certainly didn't believe it, but it's still true. Updating, it was yesterday that I wrote an article about how you'll be fine after a day has passed. I find myself desperately in need of guidance as a result. Just goes to show that healing is an ongoing process. The following is a brief explanation. From my situation, the whole narrative can be summed up. In my previous story, I mentioned that I contracted the disease in July 2020 and withdrew from society for 7 weeks. In short, this was because I needed to continue working while my wife stayed with relatives. During this time, she discovered that my test was negative and decided not to return home, expressing a desire for a divorce. I later found out that she was having an affair with a coworker, which left me very disturbed as I have known this coworker for 13 years. We've worked together for the past 8 years, but he left the company in early 2021 to save his own marriage, ending his relationship with my wife. I met him a few times at his new place of work, but I never mentioned anything about this situation, neither before nor after the divorce. Although this made me more unhappy with my wife than him, as she was a stranger, I have known him a long time and consider him a good friend. We used to talk daily about our families, and he knew my feelings for my wife even though he continued the relationship with her. However, I never felt like confronting him, especially as I'm moving forward to a new chapter in my life. Today a mutual friend called me and asked if I would be available to meet my ex-wife's lover. Please convey to him that I wish him all the best in his life, but I have nothing to say to him. That was my immediate response, considering his failing health and the fact that he had recently mentioned that he had seriously considered suicide. He is not well, as I was told a few weeks ago, and I don't think it's appropriate to talk about it. However, I have to say that, given the circumstances, he feels awful. He mentioned losing a lot of weight and that everyone noticed, but he let it affect his self-esteem. I told him it's understandable that he feels bad about himself as he played a part in all of this, but I made it clear that I don't want him to commit suicide. According to a friend, my ex-wife's lover is interested in having a conversation to verify that the allegations she has made to him are true. Basically, they want to compare information. As I mentioned earlier, if the lover needs to talk to me to get over it and find closure, or for any other reason, he can come to my office and talk to me. However, our friendship came to an end. I can't have a normal conversation with this person. I happened to be watching a game last night and I couldn't stop thinking about how he was with the woman I loved at the time. I am fully aware that he is not entirely to blame, but he played a significant role in destroying what was important to me at that time. My views on love and relationships were permanently affected by this experience. I'm not sure what he expects me to do for him, as forgiveness won't happen, at least not yet. Considering my anger toward him, I have no idea how to reconcile that with my desire to help him when someone is so sad they are considering suicide. I need to find words that encourage him to seek treatment, but I don't know if I'll be able to.